just hit 1,000 subscribers. Also, if you wanna join my 1,000 subscribers after party, just join my Discord server, link in the description. That's where we chat about JoJo's Bizarre Adventures and much more anime and manga, comics, movies and etc. So just join my Discord server, link in the description. Okay, into the video now. As a 1,000 subscriber special, I wanted to make a video about my favorite stands from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, which is the series that got me popular in the first place. And this kind of style of videos has been done a lot, perhaps. So, adinplore edition? Yeah, the only rules to this video are that there are no rules. So, I'm just gonna choose 10 of my favorite stands, and I'm just gonna list them in no particular order. So, here we go. The first stand I want to start with is a really special stand to me, and that is Hierophant Green from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Star Wars Crusaders, Part 3. This stand is good in its own, but the context with Kakyo in itself is what makes this stand as one of my favorite. First of all, one of the things I like about this stand is the design. It has such a special design as well as a simple one, because the design itself can be easily predicting the power of the stand. And the biggest thing that makes this stand as one of my favorite is the development that Kakyo gets as a friend to the Star Wars Crusaders, and the development that Hierophant Green gets as a stand with the Emerald Splash technique. I just like the design mixed with the character and as well the techniques and the development of it. Considering the amount of competition coming from great stands from other parts that isn't part 3, having Kakyoin stand as one of my favorites will always hold my heart warm. Next up, from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures Part 4, we have the Handle, the Hand. I really like Okoyasu. He's one of my favorite characters from Part 4, and his quote-unquote stupidity, aka what makes him a great character, in usage with the hand, and the way he uses the hand specifically in such a unique way that, by the way, the hand can be one of the most powerful, one of the most overpowered stands, but the way that he uses it is not only fair, but it's also underrated. It just makes up from some of the greatest character interactions in JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, and I'm really happy to have a stand like the hand in JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, and I'm even more happy to be by Okoyasu. By the way, the design that Okoyasu has and the design that the hand has match with each other, and it's a really cool thing as well. Next up, we have also one of my all-time favorite stands from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, and that is Heaven's Door. There isn't one scenario, not only in real life but also in JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, that I don't think what Rohan would do with a hand in there. This is one of those stands that, even though it doesn't really have one, it has so much personality under its belt, like way too much. That's mostly because of the way that it's used by Rohan himself, because statistically speaking, or better say factually speaking, logically speaking, Heaven's Door is easily one of the most broken fictional abilities ever. With the right context, it can literally do anything. But the way Rohan uses it specifically not only makes for an amazing written character, but an amazing written, also for an amazing written power system in specific storyline. It's one of the greatest usage of author's mind into a character, and it's one of the greatest way to have a character like Rohan Kishibe written into JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. Heaven's Door is a stand that everyone would want to have in real life, and it's a stand that I know I made a joke about it on Twitter, but Hirohiko Araki has in real life. That's why he even is a mangaka, pretty much. Interlude. Next up, let's talk about a main villain stand, and that is Killer Queen. That is Yoshikage Kira stand from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures Part 4. It's one of my favorite stands, and by the time I finished Part 4, it was my favorite stand of all time. Not only because it was the first stand to ever have 3 abilities of its own, but also because of the references to it. Kira is an amazing character, an amazing villain, but also the references to David Bowie, and David Bowie's characters is amazing to him. And Killer Queen is taken from Queen, from the famous song Killer Queen, Sheer Heart Attack, and another one, Bites the Dust. So it's just an amazing reference, amazing power, and also a bit of interlude, since there is an alternate version of Part 8 with the same stance called Killer Queen. I also like that a lot, and the abilities there are just a bit more exaggerated, and the colors on there just mixed for some of the greatest panels to ever be in JoJo. Thank you, Araki, for creating Killer Queen. one of my favorite stands, period. Next up to JoJo Part 5. A bit of a surprise to some, but Black Sabbath, the stand of the shadows. I really like the stance for the character of Poplo or Polpo, or however you wanna say it. I know I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong, but Black Sabbath because of the music reference, but mostly because of the power / design. It just can show that it doesn't need to have a deep concept of it. It mostly needs to have a cool design and a cool power for a stand to be so likable, and this is the exact reason for it. It became one of my favorite stands because of the way that it interacts with Giovanna's golden experience, and the way that it got defeated was so satisfying to see. Being a long range stand and the way that it's activated into one set character with the importance that it holds to the gang and the story at the same time makes to be for an amazing stand. I like it so much. Black Sabbath is one of my favorite parts of Part 5, if it makes sense. Every single one of the main protagonists from Part 5 have really amazing stands, and I really mean that, so it's really hard to pick from them, but the only one that shines above all of them, well, there are two actually. It's the main character's golden experience and also Sticky Fingers. But since I don't want to make this just JoJo stand brags, because every single JoJo has an amazing stand essentially, I will just go for Sticky Fingers, which by the way, an amazing name, and by the way, a really good name in the English translations as well. Zipperman, which is kind of iconic. The only thing you should worry about is what will happen when you're pulled apart and left ground by my zippers. Bruno Bucciolati, chapter 447. This stand has one of the greatest character designs or stand designs in JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, and the way that it stands in front of Bruno makes me think that it's not even a stand, it's just Bruno's upper body. I'm not even joking, that's how cool it looks. The way that it punches things and the noise that it makes in the anime and the games is so satisfying. It always makes me wonder what will do if I had that stand, because I can legit zip out of my floor and go to the first floor, and from there just zip and go out to school or somewhere. Cool interlude, isn't it? I really like this stand for personal reasons. I'm sure I don't need to go to Bruno's character and to the thematics of him, because he's one of the greatest characters in JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. And seeing the stand get animated also brought a new light to his design, which the big zips that he has on his thingy, it's really cool. I love this stand. Next up, from the groundbreaking Part 6, the only stand I really like and the only stand that stands out as one of my favorites from Part 6, it's also a main character stand, which doesn't make this video any better because all of them are main character stands. By main character stands I mean main group of protagonist stands, because I don't mean that the main characters, because I actually don't have any favorite JoJo stands because all of them are brilliant, so I just can't choose between them. But anyways, Weather Report or Heavy Weather, one of the most unique stands to ever appear in JoJo's Bizarre Adventures and one of the most out-daring, experimental and frightening abilities in JoJo's Bizarre Adventures written by Hirohiko Araki, period. It has one of the greatest storylines and one of the greatest usage of it ever. It's amazing, like fucking amazing. I'm not joking. I love this stand so much. It's top 3 favorite JoJo stands, period. Man, I cannot stretch this enough. Weather Report needs more love. He deserves it. He's an amazing character. Whatever you think about Part 6, I don't care. Heavy Weather and Weather Reports are amazing stands and amazing character, period. Love you, bye. Support him please, I really like him. From JoJo's Bizarre Adventures Steel Ball Run, favorite part Part 7, best part Part 7, favorite stands start from Mandom. Welcome to the true man's world. Ringo Rodagan, the greatest cowboy, the greatest western character to ever exist. From having one of the greatest clashes between two characters of all time and my favorite and one of the best time controlling abilities in JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, Mandom, the true man's world, is one of the greatest arcs in JoJo's Bizarre Adventures and the greatest minor villain stands in JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, period. Why? Because Ringo Rodagan is one of the greatest characters to ever be introduced in a 5-chapter arc and to still have one of the biggest indirect impacts in JoJo's Bizarre Adventures Steel Ball Run, but also to be one of the greatest characters written in Steel Ball Run by just in a short appearance with a short dialogue, and most importantly to have an amazing stance, Mandom. From the reference to the power to the design to the user, Mandom is the nearest perfect stand from a minor antagonist in JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, period. Next up, we have Catch the Rainbow, which is actually Heaven's Door aside, the stand I want to have in real life. This stand doesn't hold much complexity on the user or the context, but it holds a lot of complexity because it just has a cool power and a cool, really cool design. This stand really stands out to me, and ironically enough, because being able to fly and do all of this stuff in rain, which is by the way my favorite weather, it's just kind of nostalgic to my heart, and I really want to do that myself, so it just brings deep things to my heart and I really like it. I don't really have anything else to add, it's just an amazing stand to myself. It's one of the greatest stands in JoJo for me, and I really mean that because it's the only stand that I would love to have in real life. Well, actually I would love to have a lot of stands in real life, but Heaven's Door aside, which is technically really cheating because everyone needs and wants Heaven's Door, that aside, Catch the Rainbow is the stand I want to have in real life, if I could of course, which is never gonna happen. And my absolute favorite JoJo stand, period. This is my favorite JoJo stand ever, like of all of the stands, period, is D4C, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, the stand of the American president, Funny Valentine, the main antagonist of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Steel Ball Run. It's not really the design, even though it's really cool. The user is just an amazing written character and a really good character to me, and I really love him, but it's not even the user that makes this as my favorite stand. It's easily the ability. Alternate realities have been a big exploration thing in media and fiction, and to have Steel Ball Run as an alternate reality with the main villain having an ability that can alter realities is just mind-blowing. One of the greatest things to ever happen. The way that it got defeated, it was absolutely genius by Rock. All I can say is that the rivalry that basically D4C and the Spin had was amazing. I love it so much. One of my favorite stands. What am I talking about? My favorite stands from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures and my favorite power in fiction. Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, D4C. Next up is a Part 8 stand. A really unpopular opinion I guess, but I really like the design, and that is Paisley Park, which is just unique I guess, really unique. I like the design, I like the user, I like the time that it got introduced, like later into the story. I like the ability and I like the personality since it's independent, the ability like guidance, electronic manipulation and shape-shifting. It's just great. Absolutely great, nothing else to say. I love everything about it. I guess not a lot of people appreciate it as much as I do because of reasons, but it's my favorite Part 8 stands at the moment. I know this might change because Part 8 just gets reintroduced with new stands, but for the moment, my favorite stands from Part 8. Love it, absolutely love it. And that includes my list of my favorite stands from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. What are your list? I want to know your top 10, or if you don't have a top 10 list, you can just list your favorites and the reason why in the comments below. Again, thank you for 1,000 subscribers. It's your boy adinplore signing out. As I say, follow my Twitter in the link in the description because I'm really active there. Subscribe to the channel with notifications on. Watch my other videos because they're all good. Some of them are bad, but most of them are good. Bye.